Hey, so I'm going to talk to you today about your secret weapon to closing the deal. You don't want to miss out. Listen to this episode.
Welcome to IndustrialSage, a free video podcast series all about digital marketing for industrial manufacturers. Hear interviews with your peers and find out how they're solving the same challenges that you might be facing in your own field. Coming to you from the Optimum Production Studio in Atlanta, Georgia, this is IndustrialSage.
Okay, so 2020 is here. We're jumping into the new year. I'm super excited. I think you're super excited. We're all super excited. And today I want to talk to you about this secret weapon on closing the deal. What is that? Well, it's really 4 parts, and we're just going to boil it down. It's called third-party validation. What the heck is third-party validation? I don't know. I'm going to use my cheat sheet right here. Well, according to an article that we were reading the other day, it's a couple years old. It's actually from Entrepreneur Magazine. Pretty insightful. What is third-party validation? It's a recommendation or discovery of your product and service by a reputable organization not directly connected to the buyer or seller. Okay, what the heck does that mean? Let's break that down. I'm going to give you I'm going to tell this to you in a story. So just a couple weeks ago, I went and I bought a new car. So if you've ever gone through the traditional car buying experience, you know how stressful and not fun that can be. So, the traditional experience of going and saying, hey, I'm going to go walk onto a lot and I'm going to go buy a car. What happens? You get there, you pull up, you're driving in there, and all the salespeople are looking at you. Everyone's like targeting you in. They're like, okay, and then they're licking their chops, like, all right, I got a fresh one right here. Let's go. And then you get out of the car and you walk, hey, sir, how can I help you? And you immediately, shields go up. Your defense mechanisms come out because you're like, I want to resist. Like, I know they're going to try to sell me on everything, and there's just this natural defense. Well, third party allows you to shop and your buyers to kind of check you out without having those defense mechanisms up. So let's think of a different way. Maybe if you've bought a car recently, I didn't start my research on any of the dealer websites. What I did is I started looking at things like AutoTrader or TrueCar or Cars.com, all these different third-party sites that weren't necessarily really selling me the car. I mean, they were giving me information. They were giving me reviews. I could check out the features. I could see what the inventory was, and it was low friction. I didn't have people coming, hey, let's come by. Once I did all that initial research, and I said, okay, you know what? This is the particular car that I want to buy. This is the area that I want to go. Now I'm kind of ready. I'm down that funnel. I want to buy. I know what I want to buy. I know where I want to go buy it. Now I'm going to go to the dealership and make that transaction. And I'm going to be more informed. I'm going to know better versus, shields up and defense and and it's a much better experience. So that third-party validation piece really helps to demystify things, creates a much better experience for you. And for those companies that are utilizing it, really gives them the leg up. So what I want to kind of jump into is really break into these. There's really 4 areas that help to make this experience better, and really that really comprise this secret weapon, if you will. So the first thing this really isn't the first step. This kind of supersedes everything. It's all around content. Okay, we've talked about this a lot on IndustrialSage. How now the buying cycle has shifted. The way that we buy is different. Think of this whole car buying experience, and I know that you can relate to that. Is that it's all around creating content that's educating you and helping to make sure that your buyer is informed. Everyone is self-educating beforehand. So you need to have content that's going to really help them to figure out what they need, what they want, help solve their problems so that they can self-qualify before they actually pick up the phone and go. So that sort of supersedes everything. You need to have content that helps to educate, right? So the first step that this is going to do, this third-party validation piece, is going to help to break down that barrier to buy. We talked about walking onto the dealer's lot, and you have that friction, you grip on the wheel because you're kind of freaking out. The salesperson's going to come and start selling you everything. Well, we don't have that when you're looking at things from a third-party perspective. That barrier is down. Those defense mechanisms are down. You're able to kind of look at things and evaluate things on your timeline, on your timetable, without somebody coming in and aggressively trying to sell you. So that's the first step. The next piece is it helps to really build your credibility by becoming that expert in the industry. When somebody is trying to buy that product or service, they have a problem, they have a challenge, and you're able to exercise your expertise in saying, oh, well, the companies that have run into this problem before, here's solution A, here's solution B. Solution A is better than B in this circumstance, but you might want to go with B over here. And it's really, you're a solution provider, and you're able to exercise that expertise on that third-party website where it's like, listen, I'm not trying to sell you right now. I'm just trying to be helpful. I'm trying to be valuable. And when you're able to do that, when your customer is maybe doing research and they're not necessarily ready to buy right now, but maybe 6 months or 12 months from now or 24 months or whatever that is, they're going to say, you know what? These guys know what they're talking about, and I trust them. I don't feel like I'm being sold to because I'm not on their website. I'm not on their dealer lot. I'm on this other website that's very informative and it's helpful and it's providing value to me. Now you are the expert in that industry, and now that there's no question in their mind that they're gonna, they want to talk to you further when they're ready to make that decision. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to buy from you, but at least at that point, you're shortlisted, and they're saying, you know what, these guys, we have to talk to these guys, and then we go from there. There's that stat they talk about that when a company reaches out to you, and this is sort of across the board, they're kind of like 80% down that journey. They're that funnel because, again, they're doing all of that research online. I share another quick story. Just earlier, literally like 2 days ago, here at Optimum, we do the exact same thing. We've got content and different things on other third parties and putting out blog articles and content, helping to educate people, and we generate leads that way. And so somebody came in online, filled out a form. They said, hey, listen, we need to do a video. Here's what we want to do. Here's all these different things. And because of our marketing automation platform, we use HubSpot. I think I've shared with you before. The really cool thing about HubSpot is that it will actually track interactions on the website. So we can see the activity that they're doing. We can see pages that they're visiting, videos that they're watching, different downloads they're doing. The really interesting thing was they filled out this form in early January, and HubSpot can retroactively go look at past activity. And so in this particular prospect, we were able to see that they were on our website a month before, like almost to the day, 30 days before they reached out to us. And we were able also to see how they found us. They found us through a third-party website, a company that has a website that does reviews and all that content where our content was living. We could see that's how they came in. And then we could also see that for those 30 days before they reached out to us, they called us or filled out a form saying, we're ready to buy. What were they doing? They were self-educating themselves. They were vetting us. They were looking, can these guys do what we need done? And then they say, okay, yeah, wow, look at that. They've got expertise in this and this and this. This is great. Shortlisted, and we're shortlisted now. There's 3 other companies that we're being evaluated against right now. So, sort of case in point, wanted to share that anecdote. The other piece, and this kind of flows right into it, is really that it validates your products or service. Again, it kind of flows with that expertise and that piece. It's like you guys, you know what you're doing, you know what you're talking about, and you can clearly demonstrate that use case and those solutions, and that you've done it before. And it's not just, hey, this is our first rodeo. That helps you to be able to really position yourself that way. And here's a big thing, a big challenge when it comes to your content. Most companies, a lot of companies, particularly in the manufacturing, industrial, supply chain space, logistics, there's this natural tendency to feel like your content needs to be super salesy and transactional. What do I mean by that? I mean by coming in and talking about, well, our product and this TV here is the most amazing TV in the world, and it has this feature, and it's touch screen, and it has the amazing color, and it can do all these things, and and it's all about that product and service. Right? It's all about your product or your service versus the challenge that this solves. Hey, well, we understand that, some challenges that companies have is that, are you guys struggling with your TVs? You put this in your front lobby, and all of a sudden, after like 30 days, it dies, and there's this thing called burn-in, and there's stuff on there. And well, here's 3 ways on how you can solve doing that. You put a screen that can refresh it. You're educating somebody. Instead of saying, hey, here's all the latest and greatest, buy, 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 buy. That is sort of an older mentality that you really have to transition out of. So that is why, exercising that expertise and that solution selling type thing. Look at those challenges, those problems that you're able to help solve your customers with, and those products are kind of down the line. It's a little bit of that Trojan horse type thing. And the last piece, and this is kind of a little bit of a no-brainer, but it really helps to achieve sort of that broader exposure, create more awareness. Instead of leveraging your social networks or your email databases or whatever database or contact database that you have, you're able to leverage an additional that third party, that website. Maybe that website has thousands of viewers that come in, or they have a much bigger social media presence. You're able to jump on the coattails, if you will, to be able to garner more attention. These are people that you may or may not have access to already. Likely you don't. So you can amplify your message and get it out there. And here's the great thing. A lot of people really will consume that a lot easier because, again, there's something about when you're talking about your product or service, or even in your industry, and it's coming from your brand, that there's that shields up thing again a little bit. There's the sales guy that's walking out of the lot. You're like, yeah. I mean, you're selling me up the river. I get everything's rainbows and kisses. We get it, right? But there's something a little bit different when it's coming from that third-party perspective, saying, hey, listen, we're wanting to educate, because the consumer, the reader, the prospect has a relationship with that third party. They're trusted. There's value, and that is so valuable. It's no different than when you get a referral from somebody, and it's like, hey, I got this referral from Bob, and like Bob told me to call you, and Bob, I really like Bob. Bob's a great guy. He would never steer me in the wrong direction. So yeah, that's why we're talking. It's the same sort of thing digitally. I have a relationship with this third-party website. They provide great value to me. They've got top-notch people. So therefore, you're associated with it, which means now, wow, like I got eyeballs on there. I trust you. It's better. Let's go from there. So, anyways, so that's essentially sort of it in a little bit of a nutshell. There's really those 4 areas. I'll recap. Is that A, by using third-party validation, it helps to break down those barriers to buy. It helps to build that credibility, that expertise. It helps to validate your products and services. And the last but not least is it helps to really achieve that broader exposure, amplify your message, get out in front of new audiences or better audiences at scale. So that's what I got for you today. That's the secret weapon that you're going to want to be looking at, especially as we move more into content marketing, into B2B, as this, what B2C has had. It's moving very quickly into the B2B space, in the manufacturing, industrial, and supply chain space. That's what you're going to be looking for, and it's a very exciting time. So that's all I got. Thank you so much for watching or listening to today's episode. If you have any questions, we'd love to answer them for you. You can reach out to us at IndustrialSage.com/questions. We can answer them for you, no problem. Listen, if you're following us on social media, or rather, if you're not, follow us. We would love share some love, like it, share it, comment. If you have any questions, if you agree with what we say, add your 2 cents. If you disagree with what we're saying, add your 2 cents. Let's start a conversation there. So that's all. I'm done. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back next week with another episode of Industrial Sage.